I'm very pleased to introduce you to, she doesn't really need introductions, but to Jane Coffin, our Senior VP Internet Growth, who will tell us the importance of a growing internet. Jane, over to you.
Thank you, Joyce, and thank you, community. This is not possible, what we do and what you do, without joint support. So thank you for everything that you've done this year and in the past. And let's take this great energy and resiliency that we found this year and celebrate that for this year and move forward into a next year where we will just do even more fabulous things. The Growing the Internet portfolio has 3 different projects in it, and it's been quite a year. Resiliency is the watchword, as Joyce said. With the pandemic, it's clear that the internet is a lifeline. It's reasserted the need for quality, reliable, and affordable internet for everyone. Translated into we can't do without it, everyone needs it. We need to connect everything, as Andrew said on a recent presentation, Andrew, our CEO. And that's been our vision and our mission, to connect people globally, secure, in a trustworthy manner. And you're going to hear more from some of our great rock star participants in the work we do. But right now, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we've done. And I do want to come back to the word energy boost from Joyce again. I have been energized and amazed at all the work that the project leads, the chapters, our org members, the community, our partners have done. It is inspiring, humbling, and keeps us going. So despite the inability to travel, and we've been able to support our communities virtually and in person, and we are reimagined work with you. And it's the with, and I want to use the terms with the community, for the community, by the community. Raj Singh, our RVP for APEC, coined that phrase several years ago, and we first started some of our work on infrastructure development, and it really has been with, for, and by the community. We've adapted to the virtual world. Congratulations to all of you that have survived all the Zoom calls, that have survived wondering, how much longer you can be on a video chat for the entire day, week, or month. You did it, and you built things. You built communities, and you built infrastructure. Go team, amazing. And I just am inspired. If you look at this picture here, it shows you people are doing things to deal with the pandemic, to deal with connecting each other. And again, it is so inspiring when people go out there, and we have to capture the data in order to make sure we can talk about what we've done. So more on this is that in each of our regions, in collaboration with all of you, the community, we've reimagined what virtual means to keep everyone together. I have to give a shout out on this call right now to some of the team that have helped us, from Yannicka to Ashlyn to Evelyn, in putting these virtual events together in the comms team. April's on the call with us now. Ivana, who helps us with the web design. Every single person has a role and a piece in this puzzle, from the team side here at the Internet Society staff to all of you in the regions with the great advice that you give us and our partners. So we reimagined what being virtual and together means. We kept ourselves engaged. We helped build this internet that is so important to everyone every day. To progress all of this, we have to do it with you. I often will say that the base of the pyramid of the sustainability for infrastructure in our communities is building more partnerships. We can't do it. We don't ever want to be a single point of failure as your partner. So the world began paying attention to the internet speeds and measurements. We saw some great blogs and newsletters were coming out, and AM6 and Links and DKICS and NetNode and some of our big IXP partners. The volumes of traffic going through their platforms was 7 terabits at AM6 and 5 at Links. And we're like, holy smokes. And the internet didn't fall down. Happiness, this infrastructure that we've supported through all of you, through the IETF, through others, through the technical community, through the policy and the regulatory, this fabulous infrastructure stood up. And it now needs to be built out even more. And we need to make sure that we're documenting that information, looking at those measurements, telling the world about that data that can be used for good evidence-based policymaking. And so what we've done is collaborated even more with all of you during COVID. I'm going to talk a little bit about what that looked like. So some of the project successes that we had with community networks, the project worked really hard in these challenging times. We had over 15 new and existing CNs, community networks, supported around the world to build more networks. We collaborated with policymakers and regulators in jurisdictions around the world, with global, regional, and national organizations, and also with governments to see CNs treated more favorably. And what we mean by that is to see the words community networks or complementary access in their output documents. Huge successes there with the G20, with the World Economic Forum, with the International Telecommunication Union development sector, and all of whom are great partners, with partners like A4AI and the Association for Progressive Communications, APC. It was all about working across the world. And I'm going to give you a snapshot of some of the countries that we worked in to deploy those networks. Georgia, the Republic of Georgia, Greece, Mexico, Argentina, Uganda, Ethiopia, New York City, Baltimore through our DC chapter, Go Team, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Hawaii, Seattle, US, Toronto, Canada, Italy, and the Galapagos. We had huge successes on a tribal priority window success in the United States. Often the indigenous communities are left behind. We did a sprint with the team, Mark Buell, who's the RVP for North America. Huge shout out to Mark for all the great work he did with the team on that sprint. Chapters, thank you, chapters, involved in our work from New York to Haiti, to Washington, DC, to Brazil and Ethiopia. You worked with us hand in hand. You often were the face, taking in suggestions to governments on how they could look at advice, broad advice from us on what to do with universal service or spectrum, those crazy important things that we need to make those community networks run. We trained over 300 people on the CN team, and there was an African summit, which is still underway. The Indigenous Connectivity Summit was a big success with 8 weeks of prep and training and people splicing and actually putting networks together at home, which was super cool. And the CNX APAC, which Raj just concluded with our partner DEF, APC, and A4AI. Huge work together. So thank you for that, because without that group effort, team effort, the community, we couldn't build infrastructure during COVID, and we did. And it's thanks to all of you. So thank you to our partners there and people on the ground who were climbing across rooftops and mountains, truly. Next up was our Infracom, Infrastructure and Community Development Project. This is the team that does work with internet exchange points, national research and education networks, network operator groups. This has been another huge effort where it's a very operational project like CN's. We supported over 23 IXPs, trained over 500 humans, and organized over 20 virtual meetings with peering communities, network operator groups, as I said before, and the NRENs. And thank you to all of the partners from the Flex Optics of the world to the Lynxes, you know who you are, and others who helped us organize Facebook, others who helped us organize the big peering events online that kept the band together, as we say, or the community together. And we made a lot of progress in new and developing IXPs. That means after you've been a startup, we will level you up and you go to that next level. And we kept everyone engaged. We were able to send out equipment. This was often tricky, as you can imagine, to get equipment into countries right now, because quite frankly, when you do have a pandemic, you've got to focus in your own country on your people and your health and safety. So equipment wasn't often a first priority, but over time we found people finding very creative ways to get equipment into countries. And so again, another huge success, we were able to do what we could do. Just a shout out also to our AFIX community. This is the African IX community. We've been working with that community of interest to transition our role over to them. We saw that continue on this year, and thank you. And I should say a huge shout out again to the chapters for working with us throughout on the Infracom work as well. And we've gotten lots of sponsorships and thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to our partnership team for all the great work in keeping those virtual events going and being creative. Yannicka deserves a shout out, who's from the staff team here, for all of the innovation, and she pivoted, she was agile, thank you. This was a big deal People who had normal jobs that were the in-person events went from the in-person to the online, and their lives changed. So thank you for doing that, because you helped bring everybody forward, kept it super positive, and we built things, and we built communities, and we built infrastructure. So again, super proud of all the work there. We can't do what we do, next slide, without very important focus on data. You hear and see all the great stories out there about X number of volume of traffic going through this country and more people needing connectivity. We saw the gap. COVID in many ways has helped us amplify our message. When you have something like this that happens that impacts people's lives so much, we have to look for opportunity and hope. And part of that is in the numbers, believe it or not. And so the Measuring the Internet project, the MTI team, working with partners, working with chapters, working with org members. Congratulations to that team. They launched an insights platform in December. This was early in December, a couple of weeks ago. This platform had months of work behind it, and partnerships and discussions about, can we use your data? What does that look like? Can you be a partner with us? What do you think? I mean, it was an amazing effort by a startup team. This is a new project, but it harkens on many important things that we know from the policy and regulatory world, and also for those that are in shutdowns. If you don't have internet, you know for sure what's going on in your country of no access. And so the key thing for us is to get the numbers out there, to make people aware of what's going on. This platform, if you haven't seen it, go take a look. It's designed to work across different sectors, across different, with different partners, from policymakers, researchers, journalists, network operators, civil society groups, and others, to take a look for a deeper data-driven insight into the health, availability, and evolution of the internet. I want to highlight some of the great work that the team did. We've partnered with several organizations, including CADA, Access Now, and Mozilla, to provide trusted third-party data. Thank you to all of those organizations. You've been great partners, and the information is on the landing page, the Insights landing page. And if someone could pop that into the chat, that'd be really great. Again, we've also partnered with Afrinic, the African Regional Internet Registry. They hand out IP addresses and autonomous system numbers for you geeky people, but they're also a wonderful partner of ours in building a better internet and a bigger internet. Both Afrinic and the Measurement Lab, the MLab team, have been working with us to develop an internet resilience focus area in Africa. That means more data for you about, and 4 of our chapters, Madagascar, Benin, Burkina Faso, and Ethiopia have been working with us on this resiliency focus area as well. They've been involved in this project, and currently measurement probes are available in 5 countries. What does that mean? It means that some great technical work is being done in order to measure traffic, to take a look at the health of the internet in those countries. The measurement probes are in Madagascar, Mauritius, Kenya, Burkina, and Ethiopia for data collection. That's another huge team effort. Thank you so much to all our partners there. The project team from the Insights, on the Insights platform, and the Measuring the Internet team has had a huge boost with Susanna Gray, who's the comms lead for the project. And I'll give shout outs to the other comms leads later, but she's really done an amazing job at highlighting this project with respect to the blog posts and other information that we've been able to get out there. So we've presented at events on the state of the internet during the pandemic to showcase its resiliency and agility. In 2021, we'll continue that to build our partnerships with more measurement data providers, get you reports, give you more data for data-driven stories. And we want to improve the platform based on feedback from you. Matt, who's the project lead, and Kenny, who's a co-lead, are working on a survey. Kenny's leading on that survey to get feedback. It's really important that we continue to improve, that we innovate with you as a community. How you can contribute to that Insights platform, because many people have asked us. This is the first iteration of that work and the launch, and we're going to continuously reach out to you through the chapters, through the org members, through Joyce and her team, to get feedback from you and from the community. So stay up to date and have a look at that, the landing page and the great data that's on it. And I would be remiss, I just want to quickly say thank you to all of our comms team from the project side and across the Internet Society for amplifying what we do, to promoting our message. This is a joint team effort across the organization and with our community. And you have been resilient and awesome. So thank you for building a bigger, better internet with us. And I am going to turn it back over to Joyce and just appreciate what I hear from, oh no, actually I'm introducing Joseph. How could I forget? Joseph Bishi is one of our key partners in Zimbabwe. He is one of the key humans working on the Murambinda Works project. The last time I saw Joseph, we were in a time when we could actually see people, and that was in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. He spoke at our big African summit there and inspired many to do more of what he does with his team in Zimbabwe. So with great pleasure and honor, I will introduce you to Joseph. Joseph, over to you. Joseph Bishi.
Thank you so much. Greetings and love from Zimbabwe, all protocol observed. The journey of pioneering a community network in rural Zimbabwe district of Murambinda was one of the toughest decisions we had in our attempt to make a contribution within our local community. Confronting the odds of trying to bridge the digital gap of addressing a national imbalance of a majority of over 68% of the populace who are residents in the rural areas. Even though we didn't comprehend the myriad of the problems that stood in our way when we took on the journey of walking into the unknown, we were armed with undying ambition and energy to bring a positive change. We drew inspiration from the encounters we had within the community of interest, good relations which gave us an entry point to gain trust from significant centers of the community since 2003, where we managed to set up a cyber cafe to offer digital literacy courses to the community and basic internet service. However, the cyber space is widely regulated, as you all know, and our country is no exception. Any attempt to seek penetration is met with high suspicion from the mandated regulatory authority and giant network operators dominating the big towns. Apart from battling the unsupportive inflationary economy, it took us time to be able to gather and set up the infrastructure, overcoming hurdles from all angles, the community, political, and economic factors. Overcoming one hurdle was a humbling experience that led us to the realization of the magnitude of what we were attempting to accomplish. A big vision that was seeking to solve a generational problem. It was strengthened by other problems that didn't seem to appreciate our resolve. Regardless of all this, we have a successful, compelling story. Internet Society has been so much flexible to ensure that this happens. Many thanks to the team which stood with us all the way to ensure that we unlock this long desired need. We managed to deploy a 40-kilometer radius connecting 4 schools, a district referral hospital, some NGOs, some business sector, and the community at large. Eventually, the regulator allowed us to launch a pilot network project for learning purposes. We got invited to a consultation process on revising the unlicensed band, and we understand some policy changes are on the way for the benefit of all underserved communities in the country. We got partnership with one of the biggest internet service provider, Tier 1 by the name, who is willing to give us internet from whatever area we need across the country. The CEO, after our site visit, was quite impressed and offered to support the scale-up plans. And now we have launched a Zimbabwe Community Network Initiative, which is a collective of all initiatives across the country to share ideas and experience and unlock potential in locally driven community network to scale up this work across the country. We further did a collaboration with Tunapanda Net of Kenya, where we looked at how best we can add value to our network. And through that, we launched a school management system, which is linked to the district education officers so that the area inspectors can just have remote access to these schools without them having to travel. And we also worked on the local content management platform, where these schools were to work as local hubs in creating local content for the community. Since I was born, and probably in history, the unceremonious outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic is by any measure one of the deadliest and most vicious attacks ever to befall the human race, threatening not only human life, but bringing to halt every system that sustains community, from mobility of people, industry, and economies. A global shutdown that has left the entire globe gasping for air to survive through desperate measures. Fortunate for the Murambinda community, through the community network, information has continued to travel when people could not. Important information on the pandemic has circulated even at the level of community, casting away the shadow of darkness brought about by the ignorance of not having access to vital information. It was the crowning moment for the vision we had perceived years ago of building community networks in most disadvantaged communities in Zimbabwe. When the world woke up in a new reality that brought everything to halt, it was that moment the vision was vindicated to provide access to the ever-growing demands of internet access that evolved from necessity to a matter of life and death. Even a person in the most remote areas of rural communities of Zimbabwe and Africa at large, you don't need any persuasion to understand the importance of this vision. Though we had a perspective change because of the pandemic, our network deployment focus has to change in the direction of the new demands or style, where there was a shift that work and learning were to be done from home. With the support of Internet Society, again this year we managed to overcome this challenge by building community Wi-Fi hotspots in residential areas, enabling access on the Murambinda network from the comfort of their homes. The availability of a community network in Murambinda has become the life hub of the community, enabling development to spring from the network in any direction the community would want. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, I thank you.